Hey, what is up guys? This is Knight here, and I am coming back at you again today, people, with a brand new Fortnite video. And in today's video, I'm going to be ranking every tier 100 skin we currently have in Fortnite as of Chapter 2, Season 8. So, if you guys do enjoy it, then please do me a huge solid and leave a big fat thumbs up and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. And with all that said, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so starting off our list at the number 17 spot as what in my opinion is easily the worst tier 100 skin of them all, this is going to be Rick Sanchez. Now, I do understand that there are a lot of fans of Rick and Morty. It is a very popular TV show, and so I respect the fact that there are quite a few fans of this skin. However, the thing is for me is, one, I was never a fan of the TV show to begin with. In fact, I don't find it funny. I just honestly find it annoying. And two, I just think the skin looks ugly in game. It's got like no colors, and honestly, even the enlightened styles that you could get for it look pretty garbage on him as well. Just overall, it's just a very dull and stupid looking skin, and in my opinion, he was never needed in the game. But if they were going to put him in the game, then fine, but no way should he have been in the Battle Pass, and furthermore, he never should have even touched the tier 100 spot if you ask me. Alright, and next up for our number 16 spot, this is going to be Lux. Now honestly, I've noticed recently that there's been a little bit of a trend going around where people are saying Lux was never bad, she just shouldn't have been a tier 100 skin, but if she wasn't a tier 100 skin, then people would love her. I am not one of those people. I personally think that not only should it just not have been the tier 100, I just think there's a lot of things this skin shouldn't be. It shouldn't have been tier 100, it shouldn't have been in the battle pass, it shouldn't even be legendary. In my opinion, this is just a pretty bad looking uncommon item shop skin. But at least if it was that, I could have the option of not purchasing it in the item shop. But I don't even have that option. I was just, kind of forced to get that skin because I wanted to get the rest of the battle pass. So overall, I mean, Lux, I just really don't like this skin. It's not the worst skin in the game by any means, but I really just am not digging that rapper chick design, especially considering how boring it is compared to all the extravagant and awesome tier 100 skins we have. Alright, now moving on to our number 15 spot, we have a bit of a throwback here, as this is going to be the Reaper, aka the original Fortnite knockoff of John Wick. Now, I'm kind of torn on what I think of this skin. Like, honestly, I think this one looks aesthetically better than the actual John Wick skin, but at the same time, the other one is the actual John Wick skin. But honestly, even though this one isn't technically John Wick, he is still a hitman, so in a way, there is still some kind of coolness factor to him. And at the time, he was still kind of like a pretty interesting reference to John Wick. So overall, I think he's a decent skin. He really just hasn't aged all that well. Alright, and now moving on to our number 14 spot, we have actually an even bigger throwback, as this is going to be the Black Knight. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very awesome, classic Fortnite skin, and I'm very glad that I actually have managed to own this skin. However, it definitely hasn't aged all that well. I mean, at the end of the day, he is really just a retextured default with the helmet, so you can't give it a whole lot of credit. But for the time, it was really cool, and you do have to give it some respect, as it was the first ever legendary skin. So if you think about it, if we never got him, then we never would have gotten so many of the amazing legendary Fortnite skins we have now. So again, it's old, but you still do have to give it at least a little bit of respect. Alright, now moving on to number 13. This might actually be one that ticks some people off, as I'm going to give this one to Midas. Don't get me wrong, Midas is a fantastic skin. I absolutely love using this guy. However, I think the big problem with him is he's just a little bit too simple for me. That's really all it comes down to. It's just the fact that I find him to be really good and really cool, but for a tier 100 skin, I want something that's more extravagant and something that blows me away, and sadly, a gold guy in a suit really just doesn't do that all that well. But with that said, I do think it's really cool because it's sort of Fortnite's take on what a James Bond villain would be like, and I think they did a pretty good job with him. So, I really enjoy him, but I do think he is a bit overrated though. Alright, and now moving on to our number 12 position, this is going to be Menace. Now, this is a skin that I definitely have some very polarizing feelings on, as on one hand, I love the design. I'm such a huge fan of gladiators. I think that final maxed out style of him just looks so cool. But on the other hand, I really was hoping that by this point they would have given us a more color customizable tier 100 skin, and sadly that really just isn't anything we got. I mean, we have some different armor styles, but honestly I'm only really willing to use his maxed out version, and I'm probably never gonna ever use his enlightened styles because you can only use that with his base variant. So overall it's a really good skin, but I think there's just a little bit of a letdown due to the fact that there is a lot of potential lost here, at least in my opinion. Alright, and now moving on to our number 11 spot. This is going to be one of the 2 Marvel skins to make it onto the list. It's going to be Iron Man, aka Tony Stark. Again, another skin that I honestly have a little bit of polarizing feelings towards, because on one hand, I am a huge Marvel fanatic. I absolutely love the Avengers, and Iron Man is just an amazing superhero, and it is so cool that you can play as him in the game. But on the other hand, I find the fact that he is a licensed skin does kind of take away from me just wanting to use him a lot, and so I find myself not using him all that much. And plus, on top of that, I really dislike the fact that you have to do the built-in emote every time in-game in order to actually use the Iron Man version, and I'm pretty much never going to use the Tony Stark variant. So it is a really cool skin, but again, it does have some flaws. Again, it really just comes down to the fact that you have to use that built-in emote every game. So yeah, again, it's a good skin that I really enjoy, and again, I'm such a huge fan of this character, but I definitely think there are better crossover skins out there. And speaking of Marvel skins, as we move on to our number 10 spot, this is going to be the second Marvel skin on the list. It's going to be Carnage. Honestly, I do still have some mixed feelings about this, as it is definitely debatable on whether or not this should have been the tier 100. I personally think it probably actually should have gone to Tauren or maybe the Cube Queen. But that being said, if we are going to get a crossover skin for a tier 100 skin, at least this one, unlike Rick Sanchez, is actually good quality. I really enjoy this, and in my opinion, this could very well be in my top 5 personal favorite Marvel skins in the entire game. Alright, and now moving on to our number 9 spot. This is going to be Ragnarok. Honestly, it is pretty crazy how old this skin has gotten. And I do think it suffers a little bit from the same issues that Menace does that I spoke about earlier, whereas I really love the design of him and I love his maxed out style, but I think he is lacking in a little bit of customizability. However, I'm not going to hold that against Ragnarok like I would Menace, because Menace came a whole chapter later after this guy. And plus, I think Ragnarok's design is probably just a little bit cooler. I mean, that whole barbarian theme with the skull head and the glowing eyes and everything about it just looks absolutely insane. I really love this guy, and even to this day, I will still use this from time to time. However, I don't think he's quite as good as Molten Ragnarok. But then again, that skin is literally in my top 5 personal favorite skins of all time, so you can't really blame him if he's not able to beat that. Alright, and now moving on to number 8, I decided to give this one to the Ice King. I don't think there's actually that many people that would place this one as high as I did, mainly because so many people give him pointless flack simply for being too quote-unquote bulky. But honestly, I'm just going to say it, I do not care. I think the skin looks absolutely sick. Probably equally as sick as Ragnarok, but at least this guy, unlike Ragnarok, does have a couple of cool color styles, so that's why I decided to bump him up one extra spot. Honestly though, he is definitely one of the coolest tier 100 skins I've ever seen, and if anything, I would actually say that I don't really use him enough. Alright, now moving on to number 7, I decided to give this one to Fusion. In my past couple times I've ranked the tier 100 skins, I usually put him pretty low, but I honestly just could not do that to him anymore. I had to at least put him somewhere in like the top 10-ish, because I think it's just a sick looking skin. I really am digging the design they went for. It was sort of like the Ninja Assassin vibe combined with the whole energy skin type deal he's got going on. And I mean, it's just a very unique thing, and I really don't think we've seen that many skins like him. And just overall, it's a skin that, even though he's not that bulky, they still managed to find a design that's unique, interesting, and extravagant, and that is what I'm looking for in Fortnite skins, especially tier 100 skins. And so, in my opinion, even though that many people don't show him love like they used to when he first got released, I still think he is a solid 10 out of 10. Alright, and now moving on to our number 6 entry, I decided to give this one to the Spire Assassin. Honestly, just this is one of the coolest female skins in the entire game, if you ask me. Not the coolest. I wouldn't say she's probably up in my top 10, but possibly in my top 20. And it just, I'm really digging this though. I mean, the base style alone already has a really cool color scheme, but then you add on the additional enlightened styles and they just raise the skin to a whole new level. I especially am a huge fan of that gold and purple style. I think it looks sick and it just overall makes the skin really awesome for combos. And not only do I think the skin is amazing, but personally I would actually go as far as to say that it could be a little bit underrated as well. Alright, now cracking into the top 5, ladies and gentlemen, we have the final female tier 100 skin on the list. It's going to be the Eternal Knight. Honestly, this is hands down one of the coolest Knight skins in the entire game, as well as, in my opinion, a very unique Knight skin. There are already quite a few Knights in the game before this came out, so I actually do give them some credit for finding a design that was both really cool, but also really unique and different compared to what we've seen before in the past. And honestly, this skin, again, just completely awesome and very extravagant, and that is what I want to see in Fortnite skins. And it's just such amazing customizability as well. You have the base styles of silver, gold, and black, which already look amazing, but then on top of that you also have the 3 enlightened versions of those colors, and just everything about it just all makes for one amazing package. Alright, now moving on to our number 4 entry. This is what, in my opinion, is the greatest Knight skin in the entire game. This is going to be the Ultima Knight. Again, I consistently go back and forth on which I prefer between the Eternal Knight and Ultima Knight, but I think usually I gotta give the edge to Ultima Knight just because he has that origin style, and that just looks so cool because it does an amazing job of combining a unique, awesome design with the original classic Fortnite Knight skins, and just everything about it works for me. I love the design, I love the colors, I love everything about what they did with this, and in my opinion, this right here is one of the biggest things that makes the Season X Battle Pass one of the greatest Battle Passes of all time. Alright, and now moving on to our number 3 spot. This could be a contender for being the most underrated skin on this entire list. It's going to be Vendetta. Honestly, I just love the heck out of this skin the more and more I use it, and I will never understand the amount of hate and criticisms that people give it. It's just so cool with, again, a very awesome and unique design, and in my opinion, they really could not have done a much better job with a future themed tier 100 skin. I think they did so well with this. Such a great and awesome design combined with, once again, phenomenal customizability. I mean, you have all the different armor and plasma colors combined with all the different colors for the clothes. All of it, again, just makes for a solid 10 out of 10 skin. And I really still, I just have to say it again, I will never understand why so many people dislike this skin so much. Alright, now moving on to our number 2 spot, we have the second contender for what, in my opinion, is the most underrated skin on this list. It's going to be Dire. I mean, honestly, there's really not a whole lot to be said about the skin that I already haven't said in the past, so I'm going to try to make this brief. I really just love wolves. That's all it comes down to, and a werewolf tier 100 skin is just an amazing idea for me, especially since it fit perfectly into a Halloween themed battle pass. The base style is, you know, kind of basic, but actually I can see myself running that from time to time. But those max werewolf styles with, you know, the different fur colors combined with the different colors for the headband, it's just so awesome. I would honestly love the heck out of this skin if it was just the base version, you know, the brown werewolf with the red headband. But the fact that they gave this some extra customizability just makes this so much better. Again, like there's not a whole lot I can really say about this because I've already said so much about it in the past. But I really love this skin. I can understand not everyone loving it as much as I do, but again, I do have to say I still think it gets too much hate. But then finally, closing off our list at the number 1 spot as what, in my opinion, is the tier 100 that stands above all the others. This is going to be no shock to anyone who's familiar with my channel. Of course, it's going to be Omega. Just phenomenal skin, like easily hands down. Not only is this my favorite tier 100 skin of all time, this is in my top like 3 favorite skins in the entire game. I just love the heck out of this guy ever since he came out in season 4, and ever since then he's always been in my top 5 favorites. He's just such a phenomenal skin, and again, I have to say, How is this guy beyond a chapter old? He came out a chapter and 4 seasons ago. And yeah, he's at this quality. Like, this is the quality of skin, like a tier 100 skin that we would see nowadays, like in a chapter 2 battle pass. But no, he came out in season 4, chapter 1. That is just honestly mind-blowing to me. But it's, again, another one of the things that, in my opinion, makes this skin so great. I love it. I love everything about it. And honestly, this, not only do I think this is a 10 out of 10, this is one of the few skins on the list that I think is actually pushing 11 out of 10 status. I genuinely think it is that good. But anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please do me a solid and leave a big fat thumbs up and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. What is your personal favorite tier 100 skin in Fortnite? But with all that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.